we're gonna move into road agents report. You can either stay there, or you can come join us, it's up to you, whatever you're more comfortable doing.
I'll be ready then.
Okay. I will let you start, you can go over whatever you have for us.
First, I want to go over the spoils pile that's in the yard. The big spoils pile has to get moved so we can screen more sand, it's in the way. I worked out a deal with John Champagne to get 10 loads of loam and 10 loads of gravel. But I'm not gonna take the 10 loads of gravel, I want 5 loads of 1.5-inch stone, and I want 5 loads of 3/4 stone. That's stuff that we can use. I can't use the spoil pile because we got to screen it, and right now it's in the way, so it's gotta get moved. And the amount of loam I'm gonna use, probably this will work out great,
Okay.
if that's good with that.
Questions about that for Frank, or are we good with making that swap? You done? You good?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
He's gonna bring his loader and his dozer over to push up our sand, so we can see where we're at and see how much sand I need to screen this year. Fingers crossed I don't have to screen any once we push it up and see what we have.
Okay.
But we do wanna stay ahead, and it still will screen sand. That's all I have for that, and then I can go to the Fenville.
Yeah, let's run over what's going on with Fenville.
The Fenville, I've been emailing back and forth with DES. DES has now sent me 3 papers in there that I gotta fill out. It's now listed as a routine roadway maintenance. I don't need a permit for wetlands, I don't need a permit. All the impact has already been done when that first culvert got put in there.
Okay.
I'm not changing the culvert, I'm not changing the brook, the way it runs, any of that stuff. All I'm doing is sleeving the pipe with 2 other pipes, maybe 3 if we can fit the 3rd one in,
Okay.
to keep, just in case we have that much flow. People have said that they haven't seen a lot of flow through there, even during the Mother's Day floods. That culvert wasn't even half full, but I wasn't there to view it, so I'm not sure. I have to go by word. Explain to DES what we were doing. I've sent them a couple pictures. They still said it's listed as routine roadway maintenance.
That's awesome.
So we can get that ball rolling. I'm gonna email him again when I leave here, just to make sure I don't have to wait for anything back for this paperwork,
Okay.
which I don't, I believe, reading his emails, but I wanna get it, make sure. So I'm gonna email him again. He'll email me right back in the morning.
Okay.
He gets right back to me as soon as he can. And if I don't have to wait, this paperwork will get filled out and we'll get that ball rolling.
Okay. So a couple of clarifications then. That would negate any need for Hoyle and Tanner to do a... Okay, so let's save that money and get on the phone with them immediately. Thank you. Are we still working with the 40,000 price mark on this?
I say yes, but let's give him a leeway, maybe put an extra 10 grand there just in case. Fuel has gone up, concrete has gone up, he's gotta check on the price of the pipe again, so.
Okay, all right. And I know we had a discussion, or some emailing back and forth last week regarding an upfront amount. So my understanding after talking with you is that providing the contractor with an upfront amount is for the cost of the pipe, the cost of the concrete, and the cost of subbing out the cutting of and trimming back some of those bushes and trees around the culvert to get the work done, correct?
The money up front is to buy the pipe and to get the concrete guy going.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay,
That is it. He needs money. The concrete guy wants money up front.
Right.
And we need money up front to buy the pipe.
Okay,
The rest will be, they'll get paid in the end.
okay, all right. So I just want to make sure we're all clear with that and we're all comfortable with that, so that check can get cut so that we can roll with this project.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a one-time thing, yes.
Right.
I know in the past that people haven't wanted stuff up front. Times are changing. The cost of stuff has gone up. People are gonna stop wanting stuff up front.
I think we need to address as a policy for down the road.
I'm not gonna throw vendors' names out there right now, but I've had a couple of vendors call me and say, 30 days is what we give you. I haven't been paid till 34 days, or 32 days. 30 days is what I'm being lenient with you guys.
Yep.
But we need to address this, it needs to be done, 30 days is what we give you.
Okay. Have you spoken upstairs
I have
regarding?
not yet.
Okay, if you can do that directly, that would be helpful to make sure
Okay.
that all of our vendors are getting paid on time.
Yep.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I don't want to lose any vendors.
Right.
The few that we have are really working with me, and I think that's awesome, so.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Do you have, I know you had mentioned that you were working on plow routes. Do you,
I have nothing yet.
okay, that's perfectly fine. I think we're gonna try to schedule a work session for next week and we can take a look at plow routes and the plow contracts.
Tomorrow's the day I'm gonna sit down and go over all them routes.
Okay.
There might be a couple roads I move around. I do wanna know what the prices are you have, or what you plan on paying for each route,
Okay,
because I wanna make them all the same across the board. So if there's two that are 30 and there's two that are 25, I wanna make them 27. People were complaining that this guy gets it done before me, he's making more money. His route might be 5 or 10 miles longer, but he's still getting done before me.
okay,
Okay, we all start at the same time, we all finish at the same time. Let's make them even right across the board, so it is what it is.
okay.
And we're not putting them out to bid, we're putting a set price on these
Correct.
and giving them to them. If they don't want them, the next guy in line's gonna take it,
Okay.
so.
All right, that sounds fine. We'll talk about that more during the work session. We need to come up with an actual policy that's written regarding on-call for the highway department. So how they get paid, when they get paid, things like that. The same thing, if you can just throw something, just a draft together, how you want to see it play out for the work session. That way we can get that written up and then there are no questions upstairs as far as paying people when they're on call. Does that work?
Okay.
Okay.
Was there a question thrown out about paying somebody last time?
Well, it was just, this is new, we don't know what we're
Okay.
paying, what we're doing, that's all. And we are really trying to get everything kind of written down, so actual policies and procedures.
We actually got out of it cheaper that way, but I will write down a policy that we should do with.
Yes.
For holding the phone, they should get so much an hour.
Yep.
And then when they get called in, they should get, I think it's a 2-hour minimum, what the law says.
3 hours with the state.
That's 3 hours for the state.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Our policy says 2 and the minimum by law is 2. Yeah.
Okay, so, perfect,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, anything else you've got for us?
We're just ditching, and I have some work orders that I need to get signed.
Okay, we can sign those now. And I'll just throw out there that I continue to have people text me, stop me, and say things are looking great, and they appreciate all the work you guys are doing, so.
Thank you very much.
I've heard a lot of compliments, especially up on Tucker Mountain.
Thank you.
And
The
I
culvert
got
pipe
3
has
phone
already
calls
been
this
bought.
week, so.
So we just need that one signed and then I can turn it in upstairs. And then this one is the Radias Crossing, which is the tree that has to come down at the bus stop,
Yes.
which the limbs are falling and it's a hazard right now. If the kids are up there and it's windy and I don't want, the tree is dead, so I don't want limbs to fall on them at the
Yes,
bus
please.
stop. So this one's gonna get cut, that tree's gonna get cut down. There's 2 bids here, but one is for the homeowner, so I wanna make a copy of this so I can give it to the homeowner.
Gotcha,
So they might wanna get their tree cut down, it's down the road.
okay.
So I just had them get a bid for that, what here's right
That's
there.
nice.
Now, those are on Dyer's Crossing, not Emery Road, right?
One is right on the corner of Dyer's Crossing and Emery Road, and the other one is down on Emery Road.
Emery Road's a scenic road, is my.
Excuse me.
Which means it
Yeah,
has to
we have-
be 6 feet, anything over 4 inches or 6 inches round has
At
to
breast
stay.
height, or we hold a public hearing to cut it.
Okay.
All right, and those, you said those can go right upstairs, so I can just give them tomorrow?
I
You
want
want
to,
them?
because I wanna make a copy of that, I wanna make a copy of the other one to give to the homeowner for that other tree.
Thank you. Okay, so moving into old business, we're gonna start with Du Bois and King. Thank you for coming and joining us, Connor. We appreciate it. I think we're checking in, you're letting us know where we're at and what we need to do from here.
Yeah, Peter Howard from Du Bois and King, and you've probably dealt with John Kenny.
Yes.
Yes, and John's, of course, up in Maine. he asked me to stop in tonight. He thought, basically, we would listen and see if there were any problems or any questions that you had, or anything you wanted changed, or he is working on it. And I guess he sent me a copy of a concept of where the garage is gonna go, and I guess if, as long as it's the same place, to continue along those lines.
Okay. Do you guys have any?
Yeah, I'd like to know where we stand, because this has been going on since March, and we have had no information on the bid process, who's gonna get bids, are you giving bids, are we getting bids? Where we stand and when this project we can get kicked off the ground.
Okay. I apologize, but I'm a communicator to him.
Okay.
That's all right,
But
I'm communicating to you,
Very
I
good.
want you to say to him.
And I will talk to him tomorrow,
Yeah.
and I'll get back to you, or have him get back to you as far as just what's happening. He wasn't able to be here tonight, he just asked me, I'm from the Laconia office, he asked me if I'd come over and, you know, just.
I understand
any
that,
questions? That's
but we have, I mean, we should at least have concrete in the ground by now, and we have nothing. So either we're going to continue going.
You want me to light a fire under him?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say, but in my opinion,
Yes.
either we're gonna continue going with you, or we'll start doing it ourselves. Because we can get the concrete done, we can put everything out for bid ourselves, but we have you doing it for us, so we need some information.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where I've been out of the loop here, who is he communicating with on the other end?
John Kenny.
John Kinney?
It's a
Kenny.
different-
It's Kenny.
Oh,
Kenny,
Kenny, okay,
yes.
okay,
It's a different one.
all right, thank you. Kenny. Okay, just only because I'm out of the loop so much now? Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
So, my question actually, and where he's not handling the project, I don't know if he can answer it, but before I was on the board, there was discussion, I know, and there was a note that the contract didn't include fire protection. Are you guys saying that sprinkler systems are not needed there, or you guys just aren't handling that part of it?
We clarified that with Todd. Todd clarified that for us. Do you remember what he said?
We put our own fire extinguishers in.
No, not extinguishers, because
System.
well, the New Hampshire building code changed on July 1st.
Okay.
Dealing with sprinkler systems is why I'm,
Right. Okay, so we might need to take just a double check on that, because I know there was a reason it didn't include that, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head.
I don't either.
So, if I
Yeah.
could, Peter Stewart, I'm the architect working for Du Bois and King.
Okay,
The building code did change July 1st, there's a 6-month grace period, but we'd have to get a building permit within that 6 months, and it's probably not gonna happen. I don't know what the schedule is, but I will check the code on that. The existing code and the 2018 code, which is the new code coming in. I'm just here to make sure I understand the building. We're doing a conceptual set of plans first for everyone to look at, to make sure that's exactly what you want before we do the bid documents. I know it's a 50-foot by 80-foot wood frame building. It says 18-foot eave height, but for a pre-engineered metal building, that height would be different than a wood frame building, because we have deep trusses spanning that single slope. So it would probably be, I would suggest an 18-foot clear ceiling height. We're gonna lose 2.5 feet on the slope, so I would think you'd want 18 in the back and not the front.
Right.
3 overhead doors, you've got the office set up, I understand that. Slab, do you want floor drains in the slab?
That's, yes.
Yes, floor drains. So we'll have to drain those to an oil water separator, and then either a holding tank, Peter, you could answer this better than I can, or a retention pond.
Can it be petitioned off to one bay has a drain in it and that's it?
Yeah, we could do that.
That's how I would like it, because then I'd have a wash bay. and that
Okay, I was
stuff
gonna
will-
ask you about a wash bay.
That way, no oil or any of that stuff will get into that. I just
Okay.
want it for a wash bay. for the-
So we should have a full height partition then, between the wash bay and the other 2 bays, I would say. Probably the last bay would be the wash bay.
Yep,
Okay.
But I might park a vehicle in there during the winter, so
Yep.
that'll be heated anyway.
Okay, so the other two bays, you're gonna have a lot of dripping off the vehicles when you come in the winter time. Do you wanna slope the slab? Do you want floor drains in there?
I put the floor drains in there too.
I would too.
That's the better way to do it.
Yeah, all right.
We can do one floor, a trench floor drain
Yep.
for the two first bays,
Right.
and then a separate floor drain for the wash bay.
Okay.
So you have the 3 bays, office, bathrooms, and a break room.
Yeah, yeah, got that. You're gonna have some space above the offices, so like a platform there
Yes,
for storage?
Yep.
Okay.
Make sure my supplies will go.
Is there any vehicle maintenance going on in there? You pulling any engines or transmissions or anything like that?
not at this time though.
Would be
Okay.
routine maintenance.
Well, that's good, because that'll help with the sprinkler requirement, otherwise you'd be in a different category if you're doing maintenance. Wash bay, siding, you want vinyl siding, metal siding, it's gonna be on plywood.
I thought this was a steel building very much.
Yeah, when did it change to wood?
We had discussions about it at a meeting, 2 or 3 meetings ago. We talked about stick built compared to metal. And actually, matter of fact, I thought we were comparing prices on each one to find out which one was the cheapest of the 2 to go with. If I remember correctly.
That's,
My question with that is I talked to somebody today, that person that gave a bid a while back to put a stick building up, and it was shot down because you guys are going metal.
I remember that meeting.
I do
They did, we had discussed the stick built because of the fact that your office recommended going stick built because it was cheaper than the metal.
Quite a bit cheaper.
Right.
Okay.
It was a faster turnaround too, wasn't it?
it was a festival.
Yeah, I mean, I think metal buildings are 16 weeks, 20 weeks out or something like that. I don't
So
know
it must
what
be
it
in
is.
minutes, it's not one of the meetings. Okay.
The interior wall finish in the bays, I would suggest we do like a, what we call FRP panel in the wash bay, which is a waterproof panel that you use in commercial kitchens.
Yep.
The other bay is plywood.
Is that real expensive, that stuff to, or
Yeah,
can that
that'd
go
be-
through the whole thing?
No, it's not that expensive.
How about doing that through the whole place?
We could do it up 8 feet, possibly in the other 2 bays, I'm not sure you need it above that.
That way it's easier to keep clean too.
Okay,
As long as it's cost effective.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
I think that's cheaper right now than the plywood.
I think that's pretty much it. So we'll put together a set of conceptuals for you folks, we'll send them out to everybody.
Perfect.
Get on the same page, give it to the engineers to do their stuff. We'll do our details, put a bid package together, and we'll send it out. Do you want a pre-qualified list of bidders? Do you want us just to throw it out to everybody?
I'd put a pre-qualified in.
Right, because we probably have some.
So we should send out a request for qualifications first, get those in. You can select whatever number you'd like. And then when the drawings are done, we send out the RFP, and they'll put the bids in.
We do have some local contractors here.
Right.
Right.
And if we can get this ASP, it'll be appreciated.
Sure, yep.
And I had texted Todd about the sprinkler system, and he said it had something to do with going with a metal building, so we probably do need to double check the fire suppression.
Okay. That came from fire, that requirement, or?
No, just a board member who was working on this initially, in the initial phases, so.
Okay.
I think Primex is going to require
Well, it's gotta be.
something.
You figure
It's gotta
It
be
doesn't
some
have
sort
to be
of
anything
fire
huge,
suppression.
but
Danbury,
yeah, I was
Hopkinton,
just
and
thinking
Henniker,
that.
they made out on in the past 10 years for highway garages.
Yeah.
So
I would think that you'd want a fire suppressor system anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make sure that's.
Take
I mean,
one
it's
for a building
a better way to
control.
go if you can, but the problem is, you need a cistern and a fire pump and a generator.
Right.
So, that's probably gonna hit you up 100,000 just to get you started. But
I know.
I think it's worth it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And we'll check with Steve, because I know when, at town meeting time, he had some ideas about something. He's one of the fire deputies, so.
Yeah,
There has to be a generator for that system.
for the fire pump, yep.
Would it be sufficient if the generator was there to run that and the building? if
You could
needed?
do, sure, you could add the building onto that if you want.
So it's something to look forward to look into.
Well, there's gonna be times when you might need that building when the power's out in the town of Andover.
Right.
I mean, I have one of my business and I swear by it. So many times the power goes out around here and 15 seconds later, the generator's on, you get your power back.
Yep. You think of anything else, Pete?
Do you know how thick the concrete floor is gonna be?
6 inches probably. We'll leave it up to structural, but
I'm just thinking if I needed
it'd be
to
5 anyway.
I needed to put a lift in there, I think 6 is good.
Yeah.
If they ever put a lift in that building.
You don't have a location for that, do you? We could reinforce that area, but if not, we'll just do,
Yeah, I don't have a
Okay.
location where it would be.
okay.
Rebar concrete or fiberglass?
Sorry?
You're gonna do the rebar on the floor with the concrete or use a fiberglass concrete?
We go both ways. We'll check with structural on that.
Okay.
The other thing is, we're doing a septic system. We providing that, I mean, the design?
I would say so.
Yeah, okay. Somebody take a test pit for us in that area?
Okay. How deep you need to go for that?
Just 6 feet.
Okay. How big is it? Just a 4x4?
Just big enough for me to get in, jam the soil,
Okay.
and bury me.
No, I don't wanna do that.
If I could just I'll give you name and number or whatever, and
Sure.
I can contact you and we can.
Make arrangements to meet up and get it done.
Do we have anything else for them?
Fair question. What's
one of
the
your cards,
difference in
right?
lifespan between a type 5 stick built and what would be a metal prefab?
What's the difference in the what?
Lifespan of the facility.
Oh, well, I mean, metal building, you probably get 50 to 75 years. Wood frame, you'd be less than 50 without some major work. We didn't answer the question about the siding, I don't think.
No, we,
No, but I think
Well,
we'll
we'll just
wanna
show-
look
we'll show
at,
something.
right, we'll wanna
We'll
look
show
at
some
different
vinyl
options.
and you can decide if you want.
yeah,
You know, all the options.
yeah.
You're not gonna be hoisting anything in there off of the trusses, I assume?
Is everybody comfortable with where we're at and what we have for questions at this point? Yes?
And your
Anything else?
desired schedule was what, you wanted to be out to bid as soon as possible?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been going on since March and we haven't got any place yet, so.
Oh, okay.
I would say I'd like the heat on by November. Right now, when I have to work on anything, it's laying on the ground.
Okay.
so yes, as soon as
I'm
possible.
serious. No.
Thanks, everything
Stay in
I
that
know.
hole, right?
We'll get you a set of schematics out pretty quickly,
Okay.
so everyone get going.
I'll talk with Mr. Kenny and,
We'll yell at Mr. Kenny.
yeah.
Be gentle. All right, we appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've, I'm just skipping B, which is the personnel policy for just a second.
Yep.
We've taken care of the Fenville culvert, which is C. Let me go back to the personnel policy, I'm gonna get some of this clicker stuff done first. Transfer station trailer, I know we have more material in here, but I know we wanna move on that as quickly as possible, so what did we find out?
There is money available through ARPA
Okay,
to take care of it, so.
and is that an
It may
immediate?
not, it's 133, I think, for the trailer, and I think we've got 120.
Yeah, I think it's 131.
Well, we've spent some. So and I think it's 120 that we have left.
How much is in the transfer station capital reserve?
Alita's going to check on that, but the auditors are coming tomorrow, so everything upstairs this week has been ready for audit. So I'll have that information probably tomorrow,
Okay.
once the auditors get here, then things kind of calm down.
Now, is this trailer built already?
Yes, all they're doing now is modifying the rear door. Why, what do you want?
I wish I had read closer before we, it is a great deal, but I didn't read the spec close enough. And it's a front lift axle as opposed to a rear lift axle. And the reason the industry standard in trash is for a rear axle is when they back in with the trash, they're actually backing, at wheelbarrow, they're backing into the pile of trash.
Well, let me get hold of them and see what I can switch around.
'Cause
So you want
No, they're
to,
not anymore.
they're not anymore?
No, they won't let you back within 10 feet of that anymore.
so it doesn't matter then?
No.
Okay, I won't check
You
them.
have to, it's a policy now, they have to stay away from that. Because you get out of your truck and open that door.
Yep.
And you get out and check, so they don't want you to be anywhere near. It's at least 10 feet, I believe the marking on the wall is, there's a marking on the wall, and he'll tell you you can't back past that mark.
Okay. All right, so we'll be able to, next week we'll be
So
able
don't worry
to,
about that then.
next week we'll be able to figure out, purchasing, signing something and ordering?
Yep.
Charlie? Okay.
Yeah, it's either 10 or 12 feet. I know that.
All right. Okay.
I think the trailer's all made out, like I said, we're waiting for them to modify the door so it backs up to our system.
And I talked the other day with someone up in New London who told me that they ordered theirs from Stecco over a year ago.
And they haven't got it yet.
They wound up switching to a steel because Stecco said they could have it in 2 weeks.
Well, ours is lucky because it was made for a different transfer station and they canceled the order, so we have it.
Okay. All right, okay, and we have our ARPA funds and the block grant at this point, correct?
Yes, we have our quarterly block grant, highway block grant, which is about the same every year, and we got an additional 85,000 yesterday. And that was generated and authorized by House Bill 401. And it's 4 roads, 4 bridges.
Okay. So that means we can take a look at some of our projects and designate them to those funds.
Yes.
So my recommendation would be that we add that to our work session.
Yes.
And set a public hearing date at that work session as well.
Okay, perfect. Anything else that we need to know regarding either of those? Okay, fantastic. All right, so at the last meeting, we had given ourselves the goal that we were going to do a first read through the personnel policy. We were going to move on adopting timesheets. Everybody was gonna bring materials for annual reviews. I'm not sure anybody brought those. Did awesome, thank you. And we were going to move on the sick time return to work policy, whether we wanted to change it or we were going to stick with what we've got.
Can I make a recommendation that we table that until the work session?
We can do some work on that. I would like to, anything that we need to vote on and approve, I'd like to do at a regular meeting, but we can table the work itself. That's fine with me. Okay. All right. I'm gonna skip the DRA reporting stuff and let Sean, because he's been waiting patiently, let Sean have the floor. So Sean Upton is joining us regarding beaver receivers. And then I'm just gonna let you have the floor.
Alright, do I have a time limit?
10,
Listen,
15
it's
minutes.
36 months of research and a lot of repetitive stuff. So I believe, give me a little leniency, please.
Okay.
You guys are the number 7 and 8 selectmen I've sat in front of with this information, with research that I've found. There seems to be an ongoing situation with a group of both the Andover Conservation Commission and a few other players in town that submit articles at any given moment. Whether they're factual or not, it doesn't matter. Okay, and I'll show you this throughout it. I was here last December 20th. We talked about some different options, following up on an October 21st meeting, or 12th meeting, which led to the 21st, which then led to December 20th about Valley Road. Nothing's been done. So one of my questions is, anybody have any progress with DES? Last time I talked to you, Marge, you were gonna put a phone call into them, and have you heard anything back?
Did you talk to them? You said that you didn't have to have, today when we were talking, you said you didn't have to have a permit to pull anything, pull them out if they're
We went through this
in
before, I
the
asked
roads.
if that's gonna take out my road, they said, yeah, I could pull it right
Yes.
out.
All right, let me read you the email.
Right.
So I'll read you the email of what it was. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll read you the email. And this is unfortunate for you that you're coming into this, 38 months, 36 months, whatever it is, but, so this is back in October. Hi Sean, to avoid the permitting of Valley Road crossing, DES is suggesting slowly. This is from Ben Nugent, who wrote us a very detailed report, extremely contradicting to Skip's findings, Vicky's findings, and the Conservation Committee's findings. I won't bore you with reading it, but I can show it to you. It's right here, it's a 3-page. This is written by the guy that actually gets paid to take care of streams, rivers, crossings, lakes in the state of New Hampshire. We'll get back to him because it's going to be important. It sounds like an attempt to directly remove the accumulated material with a shovel will require a permit. Here's the full response with RSAs about beaver dam removal. At the end, for now, maybe it makes sense to take the approach to see what happens through fall, early winter, which we did. This is from a guy from DES. Quote, this one is a little tricky. I interpret the structure removal as exempt, but the sediment removal may not be dredging and surface water. I am unsure of the extent of the proposed hand digging sediment removal. Example, 2 feet, 5 feet, 15 feet upstream. And nothing, this is not included in the exemption below. I would also note there appears to be potential for removal to result in erosion or head cut upstream. Again, this is from DES. Could the structure be removed from top down slowly over time in sections and still achieve the required exemption? The answer at the time was no, because there's so much silt and mud. I'll show you some photos, a timeline of what's been going on. Cut the top 6 inches of the structure, don't excavate the sediment, let it equalize over time. Repeat, no machines, no bank impacts, that's important. No sudden release of water, that's important. No dredging, excavating performed. The activity proposed does appear to exceed the routine roadway registration process culvert inlet activity, since the maintenance appears to be proposed on a culvert greater than 48 inches. That answers your question, that answers it. So we're still at a 10-foot box culvert. Okay, so basically that's his email. Let me show you what incompetence looks like over 10 months. This is what I brought to the town on June of 2020. We stood there and had a meeting with the Conservation Committee where we argued about which way the flow of the river goes. This is a year later. That's May of 21. This is 8/12, just last week. That's what it looks like today. This is a photo taken from the exact same spot, here and here. That's where we are today with sedimentation, growth, everything else. This is what it's doing. Unfortunately now, we've stagnated the water so bad that we now have a beaver dam downstream, which makes Sam Hill Road look like this. That's the water getting down, going towards Webster Lake. Not real good, right? Because again, this whole thing started for me from conservation standpoint. What this affects, conservation-wise, is one of the very few places that you can dip for smelt legally in the local area. That's also what supplies an ecosystem of Webster Lake. We're not being very good neighbors, I wouldn't think, if we're doing that. And if that affects a smelt run, that affects fishermen's opportunities. Conservation Commission hypocrisies. This is all sand and gravel from April of '21 that flowed down into a landowner's property. We weren't in a hurry to get a silt fence there, but we spent $525 on heat and was worried about the town silt fence. A turtle that didn't get the memo that he can get through the culvert. I showed you some of these guys this before. I'll let you see these, Frank, just so you know what you're dealing with. This is all recent. In these, so it was, I was aware, actually I saw it. Wasn't it determined that the board was gonna not allow any residents or anybody other than a town person to clean the?
That is correct, and that has been directed to us via Primex.
By what?
Primex, our insurance carrier.
Right, the attorney said that it can't happen.
But there is a caveat, there's an RSA that says if the beaver deceiver is owned by someone who's
No, it's not, it's
a
right here.
buddy, yeah.
It's an interpretation, it's how you want to interpret it, but it also says in there, I have it right here for you. It also says that one or more flow devices property under their, let's see, I'll read the whole thing. Any person, provision of law or rule, a landowner or landowner agent, or any town or municipal, state official or employee may destroy beaver, remove beaver dams, or install one or more flow devices on property under their control to protect their property, public highways, bridges from damage or submersion. I can go on with it, but again, this is the RSA, Marge. And it can
Okay,
be,
but that's not the RSA I'm talking about.
okay, what's the RSA?
Okay, so I have dueling RSAs here. RSA 210:9 clearly states that the maintenance of flow devices on private property is the responsibility of the landowner.
Well, so, and if you go further in 210-9, isn't there something in there that talks about the maintenance and protection of culverts for municipalities? Because I think that's pretty clear too, that if there's any situation that takes place with that. Because again, if somebody makes a mistake and falls off the ice, which I actually have here, we were told by the town employee, I thought, that they could, I mean, the town attorney couldn't do that, but right here, let's see. Chopped up ice on Beaver Deceiver East, crawled on ice pack and cleared major 3 hours due to ice 2 feet in 2 hours. So they dropped 2 feet in 2 hours, which obviously, this also says in this RSA that you can't flush Beaver Deceivers that fast, and it says that in the email I just read, because we can't have any head erosion, we can't have any sedimentation.
Right.
But yet I've got a piece of paper that was dropped off by that landowner that says 1 foot an hour, 1 foot an hour, 5 inches an hour, and 9 inches an hour each time they were cleaned. So that's illegal, and that's why we can't pull Valley Road.
And the one you're talking about is privately owned?
No,
No.
we were talking about cleaning them, and
None of them are
Michelle Edgar goes in and cleans them. Can I just read this one so
Sure.
we know what we're
Sure.
talking about?
Yeah.
1, no person shall destroy or disturb or interfere in any manner with the dams or houses of beaver without first obtaining a special permit from the executive director. 2, notwithstanding paragraph 1 or any other provision of law or rule, a landowner, the landowner's agent, or any town or municipal or state official or employee may destroy beaver, remove beaver dams, or install one or more flow devices on property under their control to protect public highways or bridges from damage or submersion.
That's the 239.9 I'm reading, it's the same one. You're reading the same one I just pulled up, I just didn't read the whole thing.
Okay. The owner or property owner shall be responsible for maintaining the flow device. Complete or partial dam removal or the installation or removal of a flow device shall be allowed without a permit under RSA 482-A. If machinery does not enter the water and filling or dredging in or adjacent to surface water, wetlands, or their banks does not occur, and shall be done in a gradual manner that does not allow a sudden release of impounded water so as to cause erosion, siltation, or a safety hazard downstream. 2A, for purposes of paragraph 2, the term flow device means one or more fence structures or other combination of fencing and piping used to discourage beaver damming, maintain water flow through an existing beaver dam, or minimize the risk of flooding by preventing the further impoundment of water behind a beaver dam. The executive director may require the reporting of beaver taken pursuant to paragraph 2 by rules made in accordance with RSA 541A. Skins or unskinned carcasses taken under this section shall be sealed pursuant to RSA 210.
I understand all the fishing game rules, that's just.
And the executive director or his agents shall provide advice relative to beaver control techniques when requested.
Let me read you an article about that. So, we're talking about stick removal, right? Okay, and again, I'll go back to, there's some common players that seem to be involved here. Let me read you something. This is from June of 2020. Skip explained that debris along the fencing is expected and does not need to be cleared off as long as water is running freely through the pipes and doing its job. Well, in that case, that would mean we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? Because it wasn't what was going on. It's the shoveling, it's the excess, right? In terms of protecting the bridge and the road, the installation has been successful, I suppose, except for the 3 floods on Valley Road. The fencing and pipes allow fish, water, and turtles, frogs, and other aquatic animals to pass through, but I've got a letter from Ben Nugent, a fish and game biologist, that says it doesn't. Okay. Town report 2020. Without an explanation, people see the sticks backed up against the wire box and falsely assume deceivers aren't working. The beaver deceivers direct the beavers away from culverts, so they build their dam off to the side upstream where the debris won't clog up. We've all seen the pictures of Flag Hole Road, right? Another picture from the Beacon, 2015, 2022, same person, putting them in. While allowing turtles, frogs, fish, excessive to move freely. Here's my findings that this was something that I typed up that didn't get put in the minutes with the ACC. I don't know, this is for you two, because you weren't here for it. This is actually a finding that was kind of not in favor of beaver deceivers, so they chose not to put it in the conservation minutes in October of 2021. I found something neat today though. The same player that keeps putting all the paperwork in there, in the pictures, probably sending you those. This seems like a conflict of interest to me when you check the dates. And the address, 61 School Street. Now this is 31, right? So where's 61? So does that mean while serving as a selectman, she was also an agent listed for a company? Is that? And never, I talked to 5 different select board members today, past and present, that were never made aware of that. That's probably something that should have been upfront and let known, right? It seems like friends of the program get a little more leeway with things than actual facts or findings or anything else. I don't know. Like this is ridiculous that we still have a case study. You know, I found this on a website as far as California away today. There's nothing in this that backs up $480,000 saved. Not when we can't find the money for the gravel to replace Valley Road on the 3 floods that took place. When we know right here, we've got paperwork, 2 different pieces of paper. Here's one from Skip. Now, I just read you what DES told us about maintenance of that culvert down there. Skip's comment noted he could build larger beaver deceiver in order to deal with siltation or open fencing and remove tube during next major storm except an event for flushing. But we know that's not capable, right? That's signed by Alan McIntyre back in 2020 when he was serving on the Conservation Committee. So we're getting advice from the guy who sold them to us that isn't even legal. That would seem kind of conflicting. And again, every time, whether they're the landowner or not, and those rules, like I said, the whole thing, which by the way, that RSA that I just read to you, this one, I think it would be important to note on 210-9, that's the one when they changed it. You're aware that she was down there testifying on behalf of that, right? She testified in this. You can find the sign-in notes on it. I can find them if you want me to bring them to another meeting. I mean, I've obviously got the time 36 months later. So, oh, and then here's a photo of, this is Switch Road right now. You got 2 culverts down there, 30 inches, and you've got so much filtration, and you've got, so we put 2 30-inch culverts in side by side, and then we piped in a 10-inch culvert. we've got so much filtration now because we've changed the flow of the brook into one little small culvert, and if it's not all backed up with mud, this part of the brook gets no water, no flow whatsoever. Again, from a conservation standpoint, I don't even remotely understand how it looks, but I can tell you now, after seeing that, it looks like it's more than just about a conservation thing. It looks like somebody was making some money off the town and probably doing something they shouldn't have been doing, wouldn't you think? That looks a little sleazy. That's while serving. That's still in a term limit, 4 months before being done. Why would we put this on him? Everybody, you said you yourself, you've gotten 3 calls this week. DES, we've got 2 people on the other side of Valley Road, 2 homes, that if that bridge washes out, and it's not a matter of if, it's when. Right now, I just showed you pictures of it. Jason Dudek's gonna release water from Highland Lake. He's gonna drain that. Where's that water gonna go? We got a beaver dam now downstream because we've got it so backed up and so stagnated because we've done nothing for over 14 months. 14 months on Valley Road alone. Actually, it's longer than that. It's June of 2020. We all knew that the sand was coming in, but we wanted to argue that it was because of logging on Tucker Mountain and everything else. These things collect sand and sediment because we're slowing down the flow of the brooks naturally. Those are facts. They're no longer opinions. We now have 3 different ones that are doing it. Oh, and by the way, I actually forgot one more thing. I stopped and talked to a downstream landowner on Emery Road. He's not impressed either. Are you aware that when they cleaned the Emery Road one last year, that every stick that Skip took out of it, he just let float down into that guy's property? You think these aren't backing up culverts? Here, this is Google Earth. This is really simple too. I mean, so here's 2011. That's Hale Shaw's house right here. This is the pond at 128 Dyer's Crossing. Not a lot of swamp there, right? Area in need, right? Just a little bit of water flow. There's a brook right here, right? Then we fast forward to 2015. In fairness, some beavers did move in. Some beavers moved in, did some natural stuff, and they probably did clog up the culvert a little bit. But see that pond? That's still right there, right? I challenge anybody to go and take a look at this tomorrow when you have a spare minute. But we can see it's getting bigger, right? We can see the size of this swamp is growing. Now we put this flow device in because it was gonna stop that, right? We weren't gonna have, the water was gonna flow more natural. Look at the size difference. In 10 years' time, we've increased the bog by putting in something in front of our culvert that's supposed to make water flow better. Well, that's a bigger culvert that went in there in 2015 when we put the beaver deceiver in. I mean, I don't know. How much more time do I have to invest to come in and say, well, what are we doing? It isn't right. Are we going to wait until somebody's stranded on the other side and we're going to send down the new gator down? We can't even send them down off from Tucker Mountain Road. They took that bridge out after logging. So how's somebody going to get to those people on the other side of Valley Road? I'm sorry for being impolite this time, but I've tried polite, I've tried professional, I've been prepared. I think I just went with prepared tonight. I'm pretty much done with it. I'm tired of the lies, I'm tired of the manipulation. And again, we live in a town of 2,376 people according to the census of 2019. 6 to 10 people should not be determining what our conservation looks like on a board that was formed illegally. We know this. We know that that wasn't. And the moment we found out about it, we swore them in, which makes no sense to me. And now we're rewarding them, putting them on other boards. It just blows me away, but okay. I don't get it. I will tell you this, no offense to you, Andy, but I'm running for that seat in March. And I'm taking this further. I'm not going to be done with this, just so everybody's aware. If nobody wants to do anything in this office about it, I'll take it to another level. I'll go to state reps, I will call a state senator. Now, with all that being said, I do have an exit plan with this. When we finally admit that this doesn't work and we break everybody's heart who's involved with this, that's trying to pass this lie on that it's going to continue to work. I've contacted Patrick Tate, the fur bearer biologist for the state of New Hampshire. He will come in, he will tell you his suggestions on how to manage these culvert crossings. Okay? We have now created a bigger problem, particularly on Valley Road, because we haven't taken any beaver out of there. We stagnated the water, and now we have a beaver dam downstream between Valley Road and Sam Hill Road. It's going to be a problem no matter what it is. Okay? When Jason drains the lake down, that will be a problem. You have no ability for flow in Valley Road, 0. Right? We still haven't moved forward on DES. I mean, I printed out the forms if anybody wants them, but although I see you got a copy of them, and that's miraculous that you were able to get DES to email you back that fast. 10 months that I've been trying to figure out how to do it. But-
Sean, can I ask you a question?
Yep,
I know, and maybe Marge, you know the answer to this, I know Jason drains the water, or lowers the water level of Lake, lets water go, before winter. Do you know exactly when he does that?
last year it was gonna be on October 21st, because that was the set date of pulling out the whole thing, is I was trying to gain the hydraulic flush last October. We were explained in that email that July and August were the months we should be working on Valley Road.
Yes, they were. Okay.
Now, I'm gonna say this now, I said it last month, let's get the ball rolling on the permit, and
Right. That's for Valley Road only.
In the meantime, if we're going to do that, could I join you if you're part of that? Because I'd like to do some research myself, and I know Ben Nugent from Fish and Game would like to do some research to see what one looks like after 5 years. I spoke to you about this last year.
Yep.
We'd like to put some markers in at the current sediment level and see how quick it now takes for the sediment level to be removed. Although it's going to be inaccurate because there's a beaver dam downstream, so unless that beaver dam, now that beaver dam is an issue. That goes back to what you're speaking of, that RSA. There is no culvert involved, that's a private landowner. I'm assuming that's either Jerry's property or the person on Valley Road, which I know if it's the person on Valley Road, he's all for getting rid of it because his field's getting flooded out, right?
Okay.
But if it's Jerry's, you're probably not gonna get that moved, and now we've got a problem with three bridges down below that aren't gonna be protected between Sand Hill, Dyer's Crossing, and Last Street, right? Any major flood, and we saw what happened on Elbow Pond Road, how quick it came on, right? That Halloween flood or whatever it was, and we lost roads for 3 years. 3 years we lost the use of a road. I don't know, I can't make it much clearer, and I can't be much more blunt than this. But I'm truly sick of it. I tried to go away, I really counted on the town taking care of it. I understand people have friends, I understand people have acquaintances. I don't know, I built that building down here at the baseball field, I've given my time to this town. At no point do I feel like because I donated my time, I can go have a party down there. If she paid for part of that beaver deceiver, that's fine, that's a donation. That's a donation, no different than anybody donating their time, right? But our culvert is protected, and if we were foolish enough, by representation of somebody, to allow a landowner, I mean, there's gotta be an RSA somewhere that says, nope, we have the ability to protect our culverts at all costs. So why we would ever surrender that right is irresponsible at the very least, right? So who determined, and is it a landowner that owns the one on Switch Road? Or is that a town-owned one? Because that one doesn't seem to be an issue.
I thought they were all town owned
I believe-
except for that.
And Hale Shaw owned the one, and now he sold his house, and now Vinnie owns that one. Did it transfer ownership? I mean, according to the RSA you read. So this is what I'm saying, this is really foggy, but now we understand why it's probably foggy, because that person had a involvement in something that maybe is a little more than just town-oriented business. I don't know, I've been pretty committed to it, obviously, I'll keep going, I mean, but I'm giving you guys the opportunity to do the right thing. Do the right thing. This started simply with conservation for me, simply just losing fishing holes, spots that I used to be able to fish at, and what's gonna happen going on, and now the corruption, the collusion, it just looks so filthy dirty. The articles in the paper that aren't accurate, I've had people tell me about my business that I'd hire him, but I don't want to because he doesn't like beavers. It's not accurate. I don't like snakes, but I'm protecting them. Snakes scare the hell out of me. But every time we drain one of those in October, we open them up and make them susceptible, if they're in the mud, to killing them. Right? I don't know. That's all I got. I really hope you do the right thing, and I'm just beside myself. I don't, there's been no contact regarding it, there's been nothing. Why? Why would that still look like it does on Valley Road today? If we had a conservation commission worth its salt, Why would they possibly, I mean, they're in a hurry to send letters about logging to certain people, not all of them. If you're a friend of the program, you don't get a letter. Like Elbow Pond Road that goes all the way down to Elbow Pond, they didn't get a letter. When there's subdivision, they don't get letters, but if a major logging organization comes in from New Jersey, a letter's sent out to every, I can show you the minutes if anybody wants to see them, but a letter gets sent out to every abutter, hey, just a heads up, they're gonna do some logging. It's just corrupt. I can't be the only one that sees it. Don't make me the only one that does something about it. That's ridiculous. Like I said, I'll go to somebody else higher in the state and get it taken care of. I'm tired of this. It's unacceptable. That's what I got. Anybody have any questions? Thank you for your
Yes,
time.
wait, we have one question from the audience.
Hey
so-
Sean, do you have any documentation that you'd be willing to share with non-board members or the town?
Absolutely. Catch up with me. I'll give you a number and I'll sit down with you and I'll be much more polite with you.
That's okay, you know. whatever.
Is that folder you have the same one that I've been trying to get a copy of?
Oh, that's right, that's on my questions, I should go over that. I left this folder, did this get put in the minutes? I left it with you, Marge, you had a week to photocopy it, and it was supposed to go into the minutes of December 20th. Thanks, Jim, for reminding me of that, actually. I did have a list of stuff, then I went on a tirade, I got a little angry. You don't remember if you photocopied the whole thing? and
I
put it in the
did
minutes?
photocopy it, I don't know if I,
If it went in the minutes?
They were-
Well, that would be in the minutes.
oh, you mean you wanted that in? You
Yeah,
want-
they, actually, Michelle requested it, I watched it over again.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go in the minutes, and then the minutes were accepted and approved, because I Googled that, and on the January 3rd, the minutes were accepted for it. Actually, had a bunch of other questions, it doesn't really matter. Oh, let's see, I just want to
It
make
was
sure.
not given to me to enter into the minutes.
This was
Pardon me?
2020.
2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it
I
was,
thought I meant last year.
I left them for a week, and Marge was out of the office, and Alita gave me my folder back. Oh, and I did leave off with something else too. If you're having issues with DES, which it doesn't appear to be a thing, because you're not, but I had talked to Kyle Baker, the attorney for the Wildlife Federation, and he told me that if we were having problems getting a hold of DES, to contact Senator French's office, because Senator French gets very, very upset when small towns can't get a hold of a state-run agency to prevent what could end up being state-funded projects later down the road. Right? So, I don't know. Keep in mind, I do all this for free, based off solely, like, I believe in conservation, I believe in hunting, fishing, and trapping, the necessity behind it. It's something that needs to be done, and yet you've got a group of people that were handpicked on a board that are completely anti-hunting, fishing, and trapping. They get to spend town dollars, they get to play whatever rules they want, and keep going at a process of it, and it keeps being allowed. That seems kind of cheesy. I don't come in and ask you guys to buy my hunting license. I don't care if they believe in what they believe in, that's fine, that's not my place to change their opinion. If they don't like it, it's fine, I'm not here to advocate to get them to like it. But what I am saying is that in order for them to get their message across, town tax dollars shouldn't be spent on it. And they shouldn't continue to be spent, and people, residents of town, should not be made susceptible to being flooded out of their homes or stuck on one side of the road simply because we don't want to say, we made a mistake, I'm sorry, my bad. We dropped 50 grand on these things and they don't work. They set them in the brook. The guy who sold them to us told us X, Y, Z. But again, that form's pretty damning once you think that there's a connection other than, you're probably, at that point, if you're an agent for his company, you're probably not gonna say, oh wow, I got advice from a guy and it was bad advice. You're probably not gonna come out and say, we should have got rid of this guy a while ago. Right? All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Take care. Good luck with that. Take care.
I'm gonna add, continuing the discussion on our work session, this will be quite large at this point.
Mm-hmm. Certainly is.
Specifically Valley Road, Frank, do you have anything to add to?
I went to Valley Road today.
Yep.
It is up against the bridge and it's packed under the bridge. something does need to be done with it. We did clean a little bit to try to get the water to flow.
Yep.
But again, there is a beaver dam down below somewhere, that's backing up the water too. But we did get the water to flow a little bit on that side where we pulled it away.
Okay.
But something does need to be done with that bridge.
Okay.
That bridge is in the water.
Yep.
That, if we look back at that road, I looked at that road today, if you go back 60 feet on the uphill side of the bridge and probably 40, maybe 50 feet on the downhill side of the bridge, the road drops in like this to meet the bridge. The road should have been lifted up and the bridge should have been raised higher over that road.
It's the one on Valley Road, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It does do that, yeah.
So they put the bridge 6 inches above the brook, which it should have been higher than that.
Oh.
They could have lifted it probably 3 feet above the brook if they brought that road up.
Right.
Just to let you know, I had an opinion when I was selecting last time when we lost the culvert on Emory Road, that beaver deceiver was completely plugged up, and my opinion was the water came over the top, caused a whirlwind effect, and took out the corner of the culvert.
Are we talking about Valley Road?
Yep. And everybody says, no, it wouldn't do that.
No, that was
Well, if you
Emory.
have a dam,
That was
Emory
Emory, that
Road,
wasn't
the culvert. If you have a dam and water comes over the top and goes down into the dirt, it causes a whirlpool effect and it washes all the dirt out from under it. And at that time, the way those culverts were made, we were told that they had to sit on the natural ground. They could not go down into the earth. So it was sitting on top and the water swirled.
He showed you pictures of the bridge today. I took pictures of the bridge today. We do need to do something with that bridge so it doesn't get destroyed. We need to do something with that area. If the landowner can open up that beaver dam below, we'll see how the water drops up above by the bridge, but like I said, that bridge is probably only 10 inches above that brook, if that.
Right. Do you know who owns the property where the beaver dam is?
It just sold this year, you know, we used to live there, but I can tell you.
Do you have any idea of how you would like to either remove or fix what's going on at Valley Road?
The only thing I can see is to remove that fencing they have up against the bottom of the bridge. Because that's,
Right.
I mean, there's sticks in there this big.
Yep.
There's branches that go underneath the bridge and they're held up through that fencing
Okay,
that are stuck in there. I couldn't even pull them out by hand.
okay.
Uh,
Is that something we can do without heavy equipment?
No.
And that's where our problem comes in.
My thing is the problem shouldn't come in. If that's gonna take out my road or bridge, I should be able to take my bucket and thumb and pull that out of there.
It does become a highway emergency.
Is DES gonna agree with us that that's a highway emergency?
I'll email him in the morning.
Okay, if you can do that, that would be amazing.
Yep.
If you
Thank
can
you.
email them the pictures too, I think they'll,
Can
They tend to be
But
reasonable.
she just read it right there in that paperwork. If it's gonna take out my road or bridge, I have the right to take it out of there. I don't wanna wait till it takes out the road or the bridge.
I agree. DES has me a little on edge on a regular basis.
Are they
You seem to be having good luck with them though, so
Are they gonna come fix our road?
yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely not.
Exactly.
And you just had that road paved, right?
Yep. All right, if you can shoot them a,
The pavement's up above it, it's way up above it.
Right.
It's far enough away from it, but
if you can shoot them a quick email, see what they have to say, send the pictures along, and if we can let's just do it. We have to just do it.
yeah. I'm not out to hurt anybody's feelings. I would like to, if they could leave this stuff in there and make it work. But like I said, the roads are more important.
Yeah, I don't think,
But I'm
there's
also-
no fix for the Valley Road beaver deceiver. We've had this discussion. It's,
Yeah, it needs to come out.
and Skip had said it's undersized, it's a mess at this point, so it just needs to come out.
I'm meeting with Vicky on Friday at 11 to show her the one when I worked for the city of Franklin, how we fix that culvert so the beavers cannot build a dam around it.
Can you, you have Nancy from the Conservation Commission, you have her contact information, right?
Nancy Robart.
Yes, she calls me, and, she's gonna call me again, I forgot when, but, I told her to give me a call whenever she's ready and we can sit down and talk.
Okay,
But
If-
she hooked me up with Vicky.
okay, my concern with that is that Vicky has no part in the beaver deceivers at this point.
Okay.
She's not on the Conservation Commission, correct me if I'm wrong, she's not on the Conservation Commission, she's not on the Select Board, she's not on any boards in town at the moment.
She's a supervisor of the checklist.
So she was part of the original group that put in the beaver deceivers on, part of the Select Board at that time. But currently speaking, she has some knowledge. So talking to her is great, but as far as, making decisions as to, what we're gonna do in the future, that's not gonna get us anywhere.
After seeing this right here, I really don't want her involved in it at all.
Skip's the only one that will talk, she's the only one that Skip will talk to, is why I have to meet with her.
Well, I agree with you.
I understand that too.
After seeing
And
this,
you know what, that's not gonna fly, that's
No,
not
That
okay.
he should talk to me too
not at
also.
all.
I have a different design, I think will work. If anybody wants to drive up by the ski area in Franklin and look at the walking path, just past the entrance to the ski area, headed toward Franklin, you'll see a walking path on the left side.
Mhm.
You can walk right across it. The beavers built a dam there on the backside of the pond, and it washed out that walking path. We built a whole new walking path in there, put a new culvert in, and the culvert has an elbow on it and comes up. It's 5 or 6 inches below the walking path.
Yep.
And 3 feet below the road. The culvert is 12 inches round. When the water comes up, it goes into that culvert. And it's so smooth that the beavers can't build a dam around it.
That's the same way that is the one up on Emery Road. It's in Condon's Pond. It's a big pond. Remember we had the discussion on who was responsible for it?
But the problem with theirs,
It's not Condon's Pond,
the problem with that one on Emery Road I've seen
yes,
is they put a grate on top of it.
right.
So something can climb up there and clog that if they wanted to, or the sticks can get up there and clog that if they wanted to. There's not a lot of sticks or stuff coming into the pond in Franklin, at the ski area, but it's so the beavers can't put them there.
Right.
They've tried to build a dam around it, and as they cone it up, it just falls back down. So we believe they've moved out of there already, because we haven't seen anything. But as the water comes up, it just goes into the pipe and
Yeah,
comes
they
right
put the
through.
grate on that one, I don't know why, but there's no sticks in that one either.
And
Never has been.
I'm also gonna throw out that Frank is our road agent.
Yes.
If Skip will not communicate with him,
We don't
then
need to.
I don't see any reason the town should continue using it
Well,
for
I'm
anything.
gonna tell you right now,
Well,
the
we
thing
have to
that, the thing that aggravates me right now is that these 2 years right here,
Yeah.
I was a selectman. And recommendations are going on at that time for beaver deceivers, and I did not realize that the person making the recommendations was on the board
I had no
of
idea.
Beaver Deceivers International.
My question on the beaver deceivers is, if they cost 50 grand or whatever it was, how come it wasn't voted on by the town to put these in the brooks?
That's another good question.
Why was it just 6? I'm not picking sides. I'm picking my own side, because then I don't have to worry about, I have to worry about these roads.
Right.
But 50, 60 grand you're paying for these things, the town is, it should have been voted on. And Sean's not the only one
I
that,
don't think
This
they
one
started
went
off
in
that
before I was
expensive.
town administrator, and I don't know, was it?
No, you came in as town administrator, same year I came in as a selectman.
But the first one on Elbow Pond was put on, well, I was selectman.
Yeah, right.
And it was, I believe, it was included in the budget under highway maintenance.
Oh, that could be.
That makes sense, that would make sense.
Yep.
That's
Well,
what
and it doesn't matter what, who or when or where, it's gonna be taken
Yeah.
care of.
It
I know,
does.
it was under
We have to
what?
move forward.
It was done out of the highway maintenance line.
That should have never happened.
All right, so you're gonna get hold of DES.
I'm gonna send him an email.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so there's not much more we can talk about this until we get more information.
Right, and we'll, yeah, we're gonna keep talking about this and figuring out what we can do.
This is where this stuff comes into, my emails and my phone calls I have to make.
Yes,
We need to hire another person.
yes, understood.
Yep.
You have a lot of office time that needs to happen.
Whether this should be on the minutes or not, I don't know. My question is, I know we wanted to cross our Ts and dot our Is about the Fenvale culvert. We had the gentleman come up and look at it. I don't want that to come out of the highway money that we pay in this guy to come up there and look at that.
Right.
It should have come, that person should have come to me and said, this is what I would like to see. Let's work on this. And I would, okay, let's do that. I was blindsided by it. I had other things to do at 2 o'clock, but I stayed here and met this guy. And then in the end, we don't need a permit. But if that guy has to be paid to come here, I don't want that to come out of the highway budget.
Fair.
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay. We're gonna leave Beaver Deceivers now?
Yep.
Alright. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are.
Jake Gilman.
Okay, and I just don't want you to have to sit here all night if you would like to discuss something with us.
Sworn in as planning board member.
Well, not sworn in,
Well, no,
because
you
you haven't been
appointed.
appointed, you don't have
You
that
gotta meet me.
application yet. But he just,
Eventually.
he wanted to introduce himself.
Gotcha. So you want to join the planning board?
Oh, this is fun, yeah.
Oh, is
Sure,
that
I
what you
say
call
more
it?
than the planning board.
Are you regretting your decision yet? Okay, so you're planning on filling out an application?
I
He has
did,
to go
You
down.
did, okay, perfect,
should be there.
Yeah, I have it tonight.
excellent. Do you have any questions for us, or Dawn is here? I guess my biggest question is, what's motivating you to join the planning board?
Well, I'd like to become more involved in the town, and I think I have a skill set and background to assist in a number of areas. Planning, highway department, and like to chat with you too, so. Number of things.
So what is, I haven't seen your application yet, what is your
Yeah.
background?
I did quite a few years in the military as an officer in charge of a lot of DPW, public works, civil engineering
Excuse me.
type of work.
Thank you for your service.
And, yeah, a lot of planning, a lot of the same type of stuff here we're talking through. So environmental compliance on, why my guy can't blade the molehills over or whatever to, future long-term planning,
Right.
code compliance.
He asked really good questions at the public hearing.
Awesome. Okay. Alright. Like I said, do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't think so. I think I'd, like to start out towards the planning board end there and the long-term pieces of that piece, and then being able to contribute to some of the rest of these discussions that are going on
Yeah.
as well.
Excellent, well, thank you very much. And thanks for coming to this exciting evening.
It's a good time.
It
I
always
tell you,
is.
you always have a great party down here.
We know how to have.
So did you,
More than last week.
did you want us to approve him tonight? Appoint him
That
tonight?
would be great, then I can have you sign the application.
I move we approve Jacob Gilman as a full member of the planning board.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, that was
Thank
great.
you, thank you guys very much.
All right, fantastic. And you are welcome to stay for the duration of the meeting, but you certainly don't have to.
Yeah.
If he wants to come in tomorrow morning, I can swear him in.
Sweet, did you hear Lisa?
Yep,
I'll be here from 9 to 2.
okay, yep, maybe around lunchtime or something, swing a break. Yep.
Bring pizza. I'll stop up too.
All right, I know we have non-public, okay. Just bear with me 1 second, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Are you guys seeing anything I missed other than DRA? Okay. Okay, so I do want to check in on the DRA reporting. So I had asked Kat our status, this was last week.
Can we
So-
talk about this in non-public? There's a lot more involved. I talked to her today.
This is legal to talk about in non-public? Okay, then yeah, we can talk about it in non-public. Okay. All right, then we will move to the town administrator's report.
I really wanted to tell you about the money that we had received that we didn't expect. I've already told you that. I think we've pretty much, with the exception of beaver deceivers, because I didn't have that on my list, but I think we've talked about everything that I have in my report, so. And we're going to talk about some other things, so.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, before we do the boring correspondence and signatures, anything else from the public? Any other public participation? John Arseth, any words of wisdom for us? John?
Oh, I just came for the show and it was great.
Glad we could provide your Wednesday evening entertainment.
You really should tag, mission sometimes.
Perfect, okay.
I have something.
Yes.
We really need to push for zoning board members. We have 4 out of 5 full-time members, and we have no vacancies. No,
Alternates.
Alternates.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I know we, and I'm assuming they're still up, the vacancies.
Yes.
Yeah, there.
Okay, so if anybody, I'll call again. If anybody's interested, I'm talking to the camera. Please, we need zoning board, just alternates, or we need one full
full-time
member?
and 2 alternates.
Okay,
We need alternates,
and the planning board needs alternates as
and the
well?
budget committee needs more people.
So that, we really need to find some budget committee members as well, because
Yeah.
budget season is,
Right around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were hoping to start meeting in September.
how many are you missing?
I have 4, I need 2 more.
Okay,
Well, not only that, but we still have forms from last year that the budget committee hasn't signed yet for DRA. We only had 3 signatures instead of the full 5.
right, but we need to talk about the process for that, that doesn't have anything to do with
I'm just
getting
saying to
budget
get
committee
things
moving forward.
Moving.
What are the details of an alternate?
They go to the meetings, and if there is a missing full-time board member, they get appointed to act in that place.
Okay.
But you do have to come to the meetings so that you know what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like being a member,
You just call
but
it
you
in
don't
and
get a vote, right?
Right.
So you're in?
Turn the camera off first.
The budget committee, it's seasonal. It's a fairly long season, but
September,
it's
October,
seasonal.
November, December, a little bit in January.
It's super important.
For the
Would
budget.
love
committee.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at you all shit, nod your heads, oh my gosh.
I'm
Like
a
a-
chair,
like
please.
a pride of lions looking at a goat or something.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going back on that. I was
Think
on
of-
it for 6 years.
aren't you the ex officio?
No,
No,
you
Todd,
are.
what?
No, I'm not, so Andy is.
Andy?
Oh, Andy, you're coming, okay, great.
If you have, think about it, if you have questions, we've all done it and Donna's the chair, so ask questions.
All right, I will
Okay.
definitely think about all that.
All right,
I
thank
think
you.
Todd was budget.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that was coming, so.
Yeah, I think I approached you last night about it.
Why does
And
the
I did
zoning
it.
board not have a ex officio?
The what?
We
Why
do.
does the zoning board not have an
Oh,
ex officio?
because
It's not required by-
It's
judicial.
not required.
But it just seems bizarre.
Right.
It does, but there is nothing in the law.
And they're judicial, they're not,
Right.
which I think makes a
Well,
I
difference.
think
I
that
don't
does
know
make a
if the.
difference.
And in addition, there's only 3 of us, there's only so much we can do.
Right, but I
So-
don't think that you could illegally vote on, I mean, because
Because,
But
It's a
can't they
moot point.
appeal to the select board?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, if they,
yeah.
Like not, yeah.
if it's appealed, it goes to the select
Right,
board,
that's
so.
right. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
yeah,
Didn't think of that.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Correspondence and signatures, let's do that before we move into non-public.
So,
Super. I'll email you.
For the
the
purposes of
mine,
tonight,
okay?
I'll let you know.
Great,
Looks so
and
good.
it's DCP closed, so.
We're doing really good.
They're doing
I know,
great.
tables and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, that's a 0.
Yeah, okay.
And did we hear back from the surveyor merge?
You said that you were having him call Alita,
Yeah,
and she hasn't said anything about it, so I would say no.
I'll call him tomorrow. I'll talk to her tomorrow first and see if she talked to him, then I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay. Those kind of calls should come to me.
Yeah.
They should not go to.
Well, it's
The
finances,
bookkeeper.
that's the only reason why I was having to look at it.
We really do not have much correspondence. We do have,
See, I didn't find that because it was a true list. I wanted to make sure we had the money first.
That's what I was just gonna say, we're not signing it yet.
No.
so this regards the conservation easement that came in a couple of weeks ago from Alex Bernhardt and Myra Mayman. And the letter is from the Attorney General's office, and it's Diane Murphy Quinlan, Director of Charitable Trusts. She said this letter is to respond to the June 1, 2022 and August 3rd, 2022 emails sent by Andy Deegan. Andy Deegan is Osborne Sergeant.
Okay.
On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, the town of Andover, requesting review of a proposed amendment to conservation easement deed related to property located in Andover, New Hampshire. I write to inform you that the Charitable Trust Unit has completed its review on the proposed amendment. For the following reasons, we hereby issue this no action letter effective August 8, 2022. In 1991, Alexander A. Bernhard and Myra A. Mayman granted to the town of Andover a conservation easement deed on a parcel of land located on Maple Street in Andover. Under the terms of the deed, commercial, agriculture, and forestry were permitted on the property. The town of Andover, Mr. Bernhard and Ms. Mayman seek to amend the conservation easement deed to prohibit any industrial or commercial activities, including agriculture and forestry, on the property. The proposed amendment is considered to be a low-risk amendment in that it simply eliminates a reserved right consistent with the terms of the original conservation easement deed. The selectmen, through their representative, have verified that the proposed amendment meets the 7 principles set forth in the publication Amending or Terminating Conservation Easements, conforming to state charitable trust requirements, in that it provided information that, 1, the amendment serves the public interest by eliminating reserved rights and adding new restrictions that are consistent with the conservation purpose of the easement. 2, the amendment complies with applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations. The amendment will not impact the tax status of the town as the holder of the easement. The amendment will not result in private inurement or confer impermissible private benefit. The amendment is consistent with the conservation purposes and intent of the easement. The amendment is consistent with the documented intent of the donors who have agreed with the amendment, and the amendment will have a beneficial effect on the conservation values protected by the easement because it eliminates the ability to conduct certain commercial activities on the property.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Done deal then. Okay. Is that it for
that's it.
correspondence?
Correspondence. Yep.
Okay,
And the
Does that
signatures
go
are
in
in the
their
folder.
property file? Does that go in their property file, or what gets done with something like that?
There's a set of files upstairs for conservation easements, and it will go in there.
Okay.
Which one is it?
this one's before,
Yep, Redville?
no, this is for Chandler, the beach.
They're looking for.
Culvert?
They're looking for a work order for it?
No, I'm just asking what this pipe is for, that's the one, right?
That's the culverts I bought, because I have to replace some culverts on dirt roads.
Gotcha,
So I just
okay.
ordered that, and that's one of the, that should have been with the, one that you guys signed.
Oh, I see, okay.
Where did that
What
come
is that,
from?
Michelle?
That is just a purchase order for some culverts.
Right. Oops.
Okay, so I'm leaving in here the invoice for the, transfer station trailer, because we need
Yes.
to look at money before we sign that.
Yeah, if there's any questions on that trail, so let me know and I'll call.
You
Mike.
guys already signed that
Yes,
here, okay?
Yep, yep.
This is what I was gonna turn in upstairs.
perfect,
What's that?
yes. In the folder, it was addressed to me, there's a letter from, CASA. Do you want me to read the whole thing? I haven't read the whole thing yet.
Oh, they're looking for their annual contribution?
They are looking for, I think there's, okay, so the first line just says, or the first paragraph just says, I'm writing today to ask the town of Andover to consider an appropriation of $500 during your next funding cycle to advocate for Andover's most vulnerable children. And it goes on to explain what CASA does, the number of children it serves and things like that. So I'll keep this and we can look at that as we head into budget.
We'll get a lot of those.
Okay,
We do, I think, 6 agencies,
okay,
and we always have more than that.
okay. All right, we'll add it to
Ask for money.
we'll add it to the list.
Can I put my name on that list?
Yeah, if I can. Okay, anything else before we, move into non-public? Okay,
Maybe just the Channel Road. I know we went over this a while back. I do want to point out that, because I don't know if I said that on the minutes or not, but the pipe for the Channel Road is gonna be 20 grand just for that piece of pipe.
right,
And I'm doing the whole job by bridging it for $6,500.
awesome, thank you. That is worth putting in the minutes.
Yes, it is.
The pipe for Channel Road is 20,000, but you're doing the work?
Just the piece of pipe was gonna be 20 grand,
Okay.
but we're gonna bridge that culvert
With steel
with
plates
steel plates.
instead of buying the pipe.
Right.
And almost-
And that should get you 15, 20 years probably.
For
Hopefully not that
6,500,
long.
you said?
Yep. Hopefully not that long. Hopefully you can get that one replaced too.
Perfect.
But that one's gonna have to be put out to bid for the whole thing.
I'll add that to the road agent.
Because they have to put
Section.
pilings in the lake and all that stuff, so.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say thank you, we're gonna move into non-public, so, I need a motion to move into public session for RSA 91-A:3, and we're going to go, in A for personnel and C for reputation.
And again, thanks guys, thanks for
Make
your
a
work,
motion to
thanks
go
for
into
how
non-public.
good you guys do. You know, I tease you, but you
Delaney,
guys work
yes?
hard. You really do, thanks.
Yes. Roll call,
Delaney, yes?
Capital yes.
and Judith, yes, okay. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Now we do the camera shot.
Oh,